Hey guys, John with JRSP, Johnson Reality Self Protection. So today we're going to be talking real quick about this training box cutter that I got from Tack Knives. Tack spelled TAK, tackknives.com. I don't carry this as a box, as like for training with a box cutter because I don't carry box cutters for self defense. Because I train in the Medusa system, and the Medusa system is a point driven system, it meaning that it's all about stabbing. There's no slashes in the system. Granted, the founders of the Medusa system have made a box cutter system that they call Carnal. It's really not something that I'm really interested in right now. So I'm not saying that I would never be interested in it. I'm not saying it's just something I haven't checked out. Like the Medusa systems where my head's at. I'm trying to do my training for that and get certified in that, and that's just like really um, close to what my mentality is. Like everything that I've trained, if you read the Medusa manuals, they're like near and dear to my heart because they're very similar to how I've been training for years. So the Medusa system is where my focus is. So I'm not focusing on really knife fighting systems that have a bunch of slashing. um, and like I say, I don't carry box cutters for self defense because at the end of the day, box cutters will mess you up. Okay, it was reported that it was box cutters that those terrorists used on 9/11 to hijack those planes. I mean, yeah, you could absolutely kill somebody with a box cutter. You can slice the crap out of somebody with a box cutter because they're razor blades, they're razor sharp. But like I say, if I'm going to carry a knife for self protection, self defense, it's going to be something that is really actually made for it, because we can afford these things. These things are on the market in America, they're legal to carry, so why not carry what is actually made for it when you got access to it and stuff like so. Yeah, I don't carry box cutters for self protection, self defense. I'm not saying that they wouldn't work. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that I don't. But that all being said, I didn't buy this for training with a box cutter, like training. I bought this because this thing makes a wicked Uwara stick. When I looked at this, I'm always looking at things that will make great fist loads. I looked at this and I was like, dude, look at that thing. Look how that thing's shaped. This thing makes a sweet Uwara, and like we've already tested it out, and it hurts so bad. I mean, just right there, like putting it in the tip down position right here, like, oh my god. And then you can do movements like this. I mean, hold on, let's get this where y'all can see it. Some of the stuff that I've been doing for years, you know, with Uwara sticks and just training. Okay. Let's get this where y'all can see it real quick so y'all can see what's up. Get Bob in here. So, anyhow, I can come down on that collarbone, go into that throat. We've done the hammer fist series right here, and all those hammer fists, like I said in the last videos, you could do all those hammer fists loaded. So that's what we're hammer fist. And I can just hit this dude. I mean, and this thing's super. I don't know. I think that's polycarbonate, so it's going to be a very durable piece of polymer, whatever it is. And I mean, you hit this guy in the eyes, nose, mouth, throat when it's life or death, okay, or you're in fear for your physical well-being or the physical well-being of the people you love and care about. At that point, you can't show no mercy, and that's where Jock Kendo comes in. The way of the wicked fist. Like there is no mercy. Okay, you got to be able to turn. That's like the switch from Cyrano to Jock Kendo. You got to be able to turn on that, like almost that evil inside of you, because. But you got to be able to control that. You got to be able to turn it on and turn it off at will, and it takes sometimes some practice to be able to learn to do that. My Medusa instructor was the one who like set me up to be able to do that. But yeah, it's like you gotta be able to turn that when you turn that on. I mean, we as human beings have an inherent dislike for maiming another human being, and if you don't feel that way naturally, like instinctual in you, then there's something wrong with you. Okay, if you like to go out and hurt someone so bad that you maim them and you cause them permanent scarring or some type of permanent disability, and you like that, then there's something seriously wrong with you. We as humans are not wired to like stuff like that. I don't like that. No good human being wants to hurt someone real bad. But Jacquindo is about becoming intimate with the side of us that is like is evil, or just becoming acquainted with evil. Okay, because sometimes you have to know evil to be able to fight it. To be able to combat it, to be able to stop things like 9/11 from happening, like to be able to protect people, the people that you love. So that's what Jacquindo is all about. But like if we were saying Jacquindo, I mean, right now this guy has forced me to have to use some type of weapon against him. So at that point, everything bad in this world is about to happen to this person. It's like there's gonna be no mercy. Jacquindo is like the merciless way, the wicked fist, the way of the wicked fist. There's no mercy. So I'm gonna hit that guy in his eye. Like just even a light strike to the eye is gonna be very, very damaging. Okay, hit him in his jaw, the side of the neck with this thing. I mean, because that's pointed. Okay, the side of the neck. Hit him in his solar plexus. Hit him in, his collarbone over here. Break the collarbone. It does not take a lot to break the collarbone. Hit him in his groin. Anywhere that just is like exposed at this point with something like this, you really can't block. This guy can hold his arms up, and you can hit those arms and just like break the bones in the forearms. You can't block this. He puts this down right here. He drops down like a drop right here. You hit right here. It's gonna dig in, and it's gonna hurt so bad. This hurts regardless of where you hit with it. And then you can hold it like this right here. Again, to the throat, to the eyes. I can come in with techniques like these type of techniques, hooking techniques. So yeah, that is the tack knife box cutter trainer. And like I say, I use that thing as Uwara, and that's what I carry it as. It makes a great Uwara stick. I'm never gonna use it as a box cutter trainer. I don't carry. If I carry box cutters, they're way cooler than just your standard, fatty box cutter that you would get. That like is just like the standard age-old design. I have box cutters. They're folders. Okay, way better than like the old style box cutter. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be carrying a box cutter like this to begin with. But yeah, as a fist load, a Uwara, it's absolutely menacing, guys. And I mean, somebody comes up and you have to pull this out. You have to use this. God forbid you ever have to use something like this. God forbid that you ever have to use some type of fist load on somebody. I just don't wish it on anybody. I don't wish that for you. I don't wish that for me. I just, I want to live my life in peace. But as I always say here, it's better to be paranoid and alive than complacent and dead. And I'm not paranoid, I'm paranoid. So that's why I always carry stuff. And I can't stress enough. I say it all the time. I mean, this is what gives me the difference between, like, say, I don't know. I'm not a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu expert. I'm not a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu belt rank in any regard. Okay, but if somebody who does Brazilian Jiu Jitsu grabs me, okay, it's like, and I have this right here. This right here is what's going to be the difference, because he's not going to like it when he's trying to grab and he's getting stabbed right here in his side, because nobody's going to like that. I know the anatomy of the body. He's not going to like to get hit in the throat. He's going to eventually let go, and if he don't let go, he's going to have a story to tell. Maybe he wins that fight because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy and everybody thinks Jiu-Jitsu like trumps all. Maybe he wins that fight, maybe he don't, like, because I had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy try and grab me one time, and I had a Koso Koga, and we were just all joking around. We were funning, like, but he was the type of dude who liked to, wrestle and put his hands on you in a time when, you weren't trying to wrestle or anything. He was one of those guys, and like he went to grab me, and like I was still playing around, but I wasn't having it. I'm not gonna go to the ground with this dude. I pulled that Koso Koga out, and I started hitting him like this right here, and then I started kneeing him. He didn't get his way, so I'm saying a Brazilian, a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's good to know a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu so you can counter Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So you know how to sprawl out, like if they're coming, like to go for a some type of single leg or double leg takedown. You know how to sprawl out. When you sprawl out and he's down there like this, then you can, start eating his ribs up from the back. I doubt that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy is going to like that. It's like, but of course, Joe Rogan, it's like, would tear somebody's head off or whatever, because to Joe Rogan, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is God, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, this is a cool little thing. It's pretty expensive, like, just to buy, but, I collect a lot of different things, so of course I have it, but I think it's a little bit more expensive than, oh my God, what in the hell? Oh no, I was about to say, where's my, I think it's a little bit more expensive than this. I'd rather actually just have this, but it's something interesting that you could look at just in case, these get discontinued again. You could always get one of these. They're like 20 something bucks. So, like, it is what it is. But how much money is your life worth? So, hey, you guys, I'm Ja, and this is JRSP, Johnson Rally Self Protection. Always remember that the world is a big place. All the danger is very real. And whenever you can, it's always better just to walk away or run away if you have to. It's always better just to turn. If you have the option to turn and walk away, your back is not against the wall. Okay, there's no conflict worth your life, and there's no conflict worth your physical well-being. Okay, because it's so easy to die. It's so easy to fall on the ground and get critical brain damage. Okay, we as humans are very fragile creatures, and it's easy to get messed up. And when you're in an physical moving altercation with somebody, oh man, you're at high risk of getting messed up. So I don't recommend it for anybody. It's like, if you have the opportunity to walk away, there's nothing worth your life at that point. There's nothing worth like you living the rest of your life, in a wheelchair, or like permanently disabled somehow, like with some type of neurological brain damage because your head hit the concrete and now you're scrambled. You can't even talk right. You can't even feed yourself. I've seen people like that. Okay, because I worked at a brain neurological rehabilitation center. Like, I was in maintenance there, but I've seen people who, couldn't even talk. They could hardly walk by themselves. They needed somebody. They had to have some type of belt that, like, somebody could hold on to make sure that they didn't fall over or wander off. It's like, I've seen people like that. And a lot of times it was simple, like some of them, may have been born like that or something, but some of them just had some type of brain injury. They fell off a ladder or they were in a wreck and it messed their lives up forever. So, yeah, there's no type of conflict that's worth that, because that's your life too. So, hey, you guys, I'm Ja. This is JRSP, Johnson Rally Self Protection. You guys take it easy.